Good morning and welcome to an episode of Meet the Makers with me, Rebecca Hope from Block News. Today we're talking to Cole from Sportsfix. Welcome.
Thank you.
Great that you are joining us today and talking a bit about your amazing company, Sportsfix, which is taking away the in-between guy that's capitalizing off sports viewing. So would you like to just introduce us to how you got into this space from your 25 plus years in the sports space and 15 years in technology? Having started the UEFA Champions League. How did you get here to this point?
It's been a journey, no doubt. And it's great that we finally have the blockchain technology to allow us what we always wanted to do. I mean, everyone knows the television distribution system determines what you want to watch, what you have to pay, how much you have to pay, and this is totally broken. And I saw this already when I helped building UEFA Champions League in 1995, so a long, long time ago. Because the top broadcasters are sitting on so many rights, and because of their linearity, they don't stream, they don't do anything. And OTT, of course, is the solution of the future. And we are actually the first company who put OTT now onto the blockchain.
Now, you've worked in many different spheres of technology. So you've been in mobile tech, AI, and big data. Why blockchain and why in this way?
So blockchain is interesting because, of course, everything is mobile. And our services has started in Asia. So Asia is probably 130% market penetration of mobile phones. And everyone has two mobile phones. The market penetration of smartphones is 60-70%. So Asia is a perfect market for us.
Right.
And blockchain, of course, is a very interesting model for a new model of crowdfunding. Of course, at the end, we have to buy the football and basketball and all the other sports rights. And we need to pay them. But instead of saying there's a big media company which pays, let's say, $1 billion for those rights, we can distribute this amongst 1 billion people paying $1, and then at the end having the rights holder direct relationship, which didn't exist now so far yet. So that's the reason why blockchain technology provides not only transparency but also the decentralization, which is very interesting, and that's why we created our digital stadium economy.
Yeah, it gives the users or the viewers some sort of power because they can also then monetize it.
That's correct. So the viewer, first and foremost, has the opportunity to vote and stake tokens. And we will certainly listen to those voters and acquire the content more and more based on what the voters really want. This allows us to optimize our content acquisition and content distribution strategy. Yes. And the fans at the end, they can watch what they want to watch and they can pay for. And if they don't want to pay for, incentivized by our reduced price points, because we take out all the middleman markup and redistribute this back to the fans in forms of tokens, then they can even arrange a direct relationship with the sponsors or the clubs and end up paying nothing. So how great is that for a fan to pay nothing for the content you really love?
Wow. So in a way, it's like a new way of broadcasting.
It is, totally. It's the next generation of OTT. I mean, there is always the Netflixes and Hulus out already in the United States. And there's also some new in sports, but no one has ever tried really to put everything onto the blockchain, because the current system is designed in a way where the middlemen are not incentivized in any shape or form to show transparency. It's a reverse. Like, you need to kind of play smoking mirrors and pretend those rights are even more expensive, and then you have 4 or 5 middlemen, each mark up 50%, and at the end you fan pay much more than actually the rights holder would be willing to sell those rights for.
Especially like last year with that boxing fight, they charged, I think, $100 just to view the game. I remember the neighbors, looking in through the window as well, trying to view it.
It was Conor McGregor, actually. That was Conor McGregor, the UFC fighter against the boxer. And as you may know, there's a lot of legal lawsuits actually happening right now because people paid for it and the streaming infrastructure wasn't able to cater towards it. and now fans are disgruntled, and that's exactly what we don't want to have, and that's what we're targeting with our blockchain technology.
Yeah.
We have been doing live streaming. I personally have been doing live streaming for 15 years. And our team is great, knows exactly how to build and monetize those platforms. We have a strong partner, Amazon Web Services. Mm-hmm. We are one of the premium partners in video streaming technology, yes. And we've been working relentless with their team on the blockchain side, which is the on-chain side, mm-hmm. and then of course on the delivery side, which is the off-chain side.
So are there certain sports that you're targeting to get the content of initially? And then, I mean, how many sports or how many programs will be available or can we access?
Our company started actually in February when we inaugurated Sportsfix in Malaysia. And since then, we've been streaming about 1,000 live events from major leagues, but mainly local leagues and regional leagues. So we have, for example, Chinese Super League, we have Chinese basketball, we have Korean League, Thai League, Indonesian League. And all those leagues have not been distributed. Of course, there is the English Premier League and there is UEFA Champions League, mm-hmm. but the kickoff times of those leagues is very unfavorable, right? Because usually they kick off at midnight or 2 a.m. in the morning, and not many people are actually watching this live. Yeah. So we started with local content. Everything starts at 7 p.m. and you can watch it. Mm-hmm. And our price packages are very, very attractive.
Mm-hmm. And at the moment, you're already accessing 300 million viewers in Southeast Asia?
Yes. So we signed up about 7 mobile network operators, partnerships, distribution agreements, like iFlix did as well. And we stream our content mainly through those platforms. Wow. Moving forward, of course, our goal is to leverage sports to bring blockchain and crypto to the mass market. And I think there's a unique opportunity here for us, for Sportsfix, to have a wallet, to create a wallet where the fan can use tokens and pay with tokens.
I love that everybody's in so many different spheres, even in sport. So how do you think this will transform the industry? How do you think, other traditional channels will respond to this?
They already responded. I mean, if you look into the United States, ESPN, the biggest cable channel on Comcast and all the other platforms, has made a huge investment in MLBAM to create their own OTT channel. Considering they make $800 million every month, this is a risk, but they know, thanks to WWE and HBO and anyone else, knowing the cable cutting, the cable shaving and everything else is happening. And particularly the young generation is not interested at all in buying cable packages or even haven't seen cable packages.
Yeah, right? Exactly. And tell us about your ICO and your token sale that you're running.
So we started in officially mid of June, and we actually participated in the pitch presentation Coin Agenda in Singapore, won it, and based on the success, we went to Token Match and another Coin Agenda in Malta. Has been very interesting and successful. Many of my former Los Angeles friends, including Michael Turpin and Seth Shapiro and you name it, they're all now on the professional crypto tour. And it's fun to meet now in places like Singapore and Korea and Japan and everyone else. At the end, I think why our ICO seems to be really successful and very much appreciated by the investors is the fact that we have already an ongoing business. We have a business plan and we have a solid tokenomics, which many of the ICOs didn't have or even still don't have.
Yes. Do you see yourself as being leaders in the future, or how do you see this progressing?
I mean, my vision is really to bring it back to the fans. We will be building the ultimate platform where social media networks and everything else even don't exist. There's a direct relationship between the clubs, the athletes, and the fans. And we will be announcing a few very interesting partnerships soon. Mm-hmm. I cannot mention that, unfortunately, yet. But at the end, we will be creating an ecosystem which could be potentially owned by the fans. Right. And that's what we have been kind of working already with Swarm Fund, for example, on it, which tokenize companies. We're going in the same direction. So right now we have our utility token, and we will be going into our public sale very soon, once we are close with our private pre. And then early next year, we are planning already our own security token offering, either on our own blockchain or forking from a major blockchain. So we are talking to NEM and EOS and many, many others. At the end, we want to be the underlying system and ecosystem where other ICOs, which have different services, can plug in and use our blockchain technology.
Fantastic. So where can users go to now, and what can they see?
You can see at the moment recorded content if you're not in Malaysia or Indonesia or Thailand or Philippines. But I think for those regions, we are talking about 600 million people. We are in the final process of preparing the launch in China. We have a partner, and we are creating right now an interesting partnership in China, and we'll be launching our blockchain-based technology in China by the end of the year. And by then, having about 1 billion people having access to it, we will see how our security token sales goes. And then, of course, we will be launching in other developing countries as well. So we are focused on developing countries with mobile penetration. We're looking at Southeast Asia, looking at China, looking at India, looking at Middle East, Africa, all those countries. Unfortunately, USA is not our market.
Really? Why not?
ESPN and all those major media companies have locked up rights for many, many years. Their whole existence is pretty much depending now on their own OTT streaming future, right? So ESPN and anyone else. And in fact, the other one is US sports is only US related. My last company, Eversport, actually was the largest global distributor of US college sports. And we streamed it around the world. People love football, soccer, which you call in the United States. And there is very, very little American football, very little baseball or ice hockey outside of the United States. So for us, if we have the coverage and reaching about 2 billion people or 3 billion people, I think the rest will follow, and even maybe USA at some day.
Hopefully. So it seems like you really want to target these other emerging markets, and is that how you would allocate your funds? Yeah,
so the funds, and this is very transparent in our white paper and sportsfix.io, you can read it. 60%, around 55 to 60% will be allocated for content, of course. And we have already some content acquired, which the fans already engaged with. And then we will acquire new content based on our first data analytics, which we hear from the voting and everything else. And then at some point, our goal is to have a kind of real-time bidding or kind of marketplace where rights holders directly engage with the fans on a one-on-one basis.
That's fantastic. So you're actually giving the fans more of a voice.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the whole goal, to have fans voting and voicing. And of course, there's a whole gamification model around it where you can earn tokens and lose tokens, leaderboards, and anything from the gamification model. We will integrate. At the end, we would like even to go as far as having the fans creating their own user experience. So the more tokens you have, the more tokens you stake, the more product features you can choose, right? If you want to watch it only in SD, then you don't need as many tokens. If you want to watch it in AR, VR, you pledge more tokens. And we can even have differential price points, right? If you are in Indonesia, you pay for the same content maybe 10 cents. If you're in Germany, you pay much, much more.
Yeah.
So it's nothing new, because it's the same what we know already from the airline industry, right? You pay for the same seat, different price points, and no one complains.
Exactly. You have to adjust to the global world and to different markets. So it sounds like what you guys are doing is really fantastic, and you're putting the power in the hands of the fans, which is probably where it's supposed to be.
My vision and my mission here, together with my partner Marcus Luhr, who is also German, is to finally really have all the sports distributed. Because what most people don't know is only 10% or less of the sports which is produced professionally is actually accessible by fans.
Wow.
And that's wrong. And I know blockchain technology and the community which is supporting us is great for us to finally succeed and yeah, as you said, bring the power back to the fans and let them decide what they really want.
Thank you so much for talking with us today. It's been great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Yes, we're talking to Cole Kirchhoff from Sportsfix, the CEO of Sportsfix. My name is Rebecca Hope from Block News, and this is an episode of Meet the Makers.